Good morning. My name is Tom Cross, and today we're talking about an executive seminar on building an artificial intelligence marketing and business due diligence and validation program. What we found out there is this is also part of an executive seminar on AI leadership professional certification. So they kind of combine together a little bit about your market, business, product strategy, and the other part of it is giving executives a viewpoint of where AI is coming and going to. I think what we find out there is that it's also part of a overall strategy of how do we integrate artificial intelligence systems within our business. For example, we do another webinar and strategy on building a corporate intelligence agency to deal with basically corporate espionage and sabotage. So you'll be able to see those future, and they're also listed on our website, growthfundingnews.com. If you have any questions, please email me them to cross@gocross.com, or you're welcome to call me anytime, 303-594-1694. All right, as we move along here, we have a few road rules. My job is to speak. Your job is to listen. If you get done before me, you're free to go out to play. Or look at another way, you can read 5 times faster than I can speak, and I'm counting on that. So moving right along, one of the things we were finding out in artificial intelligence is the serious amount of failures. I don't know how people can actually wake up in the morning and work on AI systems that are really failing, that will fail, and that because they really don't have a strategy for success out there. What I find out there is companies are hiring so-called AI researchers, strategists, and they're basically hiring coders. Start coding this system, start building this so-called machine intelligence algorithm out there, and that without no idea of what the outcome is going to be, what it's supposed to really do. Oh, we want to do some vague idea out there, and that's why we put this together, because due diligence for AI or business or product or anything else is just as critical as anything else. That's from Fortune magazine. Here's another article that was in Forbes magazine. And basically, look, 93% of executives worldwide get some value from AI. 65%, they are not seeing the value from the AI investments they have made. So this means that it's just continue to fail, and it will continue to fail until you basically start from scratch and understand where are we coming, where are we going from here. We've built these product market strategies for companies, and it does work. It just says that, look, figure this out where we're going to go first before we start coding out there. What happens, again, is that people do not know where they're going, and they need to kind of figure that out. Because part of the AI, what we've seen so far, is really you cannot predict competitive hack attacks, either in M&A, advances in tech, or anything else, nor react to them. You can only direct your customers to your content and thought leadership. What I mean by that is that AI right now is always looking backwards. It's always looking at the concepts that you're building through the rear view mirror. You're not looking at them as a forward solution out there. You're not thinking where are the customers going out there, what are the customer needs going out there. They're basically figuring out, well, okay, here's some ideas of where we think we want to go, but we're really not sure where we're going to go out here, because this is really not a drill. This is a really critical part of your business, because if you spend more than a nickel on this and go in the wrong direction, it will cost you later more and more to your business. So I like to think you should kind of build your own ultra AI system. For example, Ultra will have told its competitors, and I like the idea is that, okay, focus in on something that is, we'll call it backward facing, but you can measure its value. So you can look forward to seeing what impacts it might have on your business out there. Build a long-term view, figure out what you're really trying to do, and then realize where AI is today and what it will not be tomorrow. These are kind of some interesting quotes out there, because it's such a dramatically changing industry out there. It's hard to keep up with what's going on. Focus on a compelling business issue, such as delivery, logistics, complex order processing, etc., understanding customer changing patterns, and other complex issues that you don't have an immediate solution, or that your business is changing and you want a new way to solve the problem. Do a strategic forecast, do a business evaluation or due diligence of where your strategy is before you move ahead. For example, turn yourself around. How would we use historical data to build new models out there? What data are we incorporating today that plays against historical models? History is only a guide for the future. At the very least, you can find existing problems that will continue to exist unless something is done about them. So what we're finding out there is that people think it's going to cure cancer or some other weather solution or some sort of business model, when in fact it could be solving simple problems, and also realizing what AI is and what it's not. I do think that, you kind of have to think is that build for changing data analytics more than just a better data algorithm model to build an ever-evolving data modeling process. When you have that in mind, the algorithm itself is not fixed. It's more of a dynamic model to think, okay, where is the storm going? Where is the business going, et cetera. So you can't just assume that algorithms are going to solve all your problems, because what happens is that you don't test those things against reality, and then they fail. So you need to test, tracking and testing, simulate, and then test live against customer pockets, against who live in warmer climates, eat what, do different things than maybe just a few hundred miles north. So think of how that model works against different demographics, different product solutions, et cetera, because the algorithm themselves is just one type. It's an algorithm. It means rule of thumb. Humans love rules of thumb. Okay, the sun's going to come up in the east. Okay, maybe that's not a rule of thumb, but we'd like it to think so. All right, who are you building this for? Look at your different demographics out there, because what we find out there is that they're assuming that this AI system will be some sort of universal panacea for all the customer problems out there. And so, you could use it for sales. You could use it for decision making. You could use it to help people, guide them through a purchasing process out there. But make sure you understand what's your customer type and what are they really looking for in a kind of an AI solution or an interaction with your company. I think that using AI to say for hiring is a failure. AI is for sales is a failure. You just cannot assume that using the word AI as something is going to make a cure for making toast. Build an AI business model. What is the goal? How does this AI system or approach fit into an intermediate and long-term business model, as well as this as internal or external business to be sold to others? AI could be, a great solution, not for your business, but for your customer's business out there. We don't really know until we go out there and do this business market evaluation out there, due diligence, if you prefer to call it. These kind of systems do work. For example, start out with like building an AI heat map or a spaghetti weather map for competitors. Do this for internally. You could do this for startups, industry trends, global issues, even the weather, that anything can be used to impact your business. Start with something simple that we're gathering information today that could be used to model something tomorrow. Heat maps are really great because you kind of say, okay, what is going on here? And the human is looking at this. There's human intelligence and what they call signal intelligence out there. And you kind of build these heat maps. You kind of say, aha, the trend's going this direction, but we need to validate that against real market issues. We use what I call a cross net points model, where you look at different things that the algorithm is really not designed to do, and then you model them against the algorithm, and then you build your model from that. And again, you're always constantly testing and evolving the model out there, because, here's a little bit of AI humor out there. Who's going to be the robot? Who's going to be the human? Because the problems you're going to be solving out there they may be robotized or AIitized or whatever term you like to call it, but they're still going to be built by humans. I think that AI for sales is kind of a joke out there, but AI can give you knowledge about things that you can make decisions on. So again, utilize the technology and understand that there's going to be what I call unintended consequences of what's going on out there. It's hard to read this, but it basically talks about, boss road rage out there. I think that, in the workplace, we cannot anticipate what the bad things are going to happen from the result of this technology. AI is not an autopilot, or autopilot is not an AI. So I think you have to understand that, what are all the different systems that people are building today, and saying having AI is not just AI. It's just more fake tech. AI is not just an algorithm. It drives me nuts when people say, well, we've got this new AI solution out there, and then they use whatever operative word, can opener, AI, tire repair, or whatever. I do think that AI will be coming, and it's coming in a big way, but on the other hand, it's going to fail more and more unless you build these different kind of better models to build what I call quantum level ultra AI system, merging mental human intelligence and machine intelligence, encompassing all business elements and divisions. So start small, start now for the things, and don't assume it's just a coding project, because in hiring coders, you're not going to find the solution. What is interesting out there on another level is that we do see that quantum computing is now available. You can go to the IBM website and start programming and using a quantum computer. And so we're going to have different ways we're going to solve problems out there. It's not just going to be kind of serial approach. It's going to be a simultaneous approach to building new systems out there. So that kind of technology is going to be available to us. And I don't think it's just going to give us faster, more analysis of data, because at some point the human's still going to have to understand what is in front of them. What does 43 degrees mean? Should I wear a jacket or should I not wear a jacket? There's 3 types of intelligence that you can focus in on. I built in my Mind Meld book. You're welcome to get it on iBooks. Vertical intelligence is, the simple terms, is making one kind of soup but not all kinds of soup. So I think you can solve one problem but maybe not the next one. It may not solve other problems, et cetera, out there. So you have to look at the kind of problems you're solving and you're expecting the AI system to use, or expert system. I like using the term machine intelligence. That's a way to look at this. Lateral intelligence is also, can I use this for different kinds of things? Because if we look at the fact that humans can get off our bikes, drive a car without even thinking about it, we can also get on an airplane and be the pilot. What skills work across those kinds of things? What lateral skills does those 3 different transportation models bring to bear to help solve human issues out there? Yes, autonomous vehicles are coming, but I don't know that every situation that you've seen in traffic is going to be anticipated by the machine out there. Yeah, you can drive 1 million miles, but 1 million and 2 million miles, you're going to run into a train wreck. So the last one is I call oblique. The idea is that here, this is a kind of a combination of vertical and lateral. It kind of takes into the fact that, humans are very human. We have very different emotions that come to play on different issues out there. And so, such as, jokes, music, evoking emotion, inspiring leadership. Those are things that I don't know how you're going to ever put in an AI system. How do you motivate a person to, win a battlefield out there? Yeah, you may have automated soldiers, but you don't know what is the strategy here for the humans involved with that. Each form offers unique challenges to the developer, user, and benefits to society. It builds cross points or intersections to meet specific goals. So look at these kinds of things, think it through. What are we really trying to accomplish out there before we start coding out there? And how is this so-called system going to evolve out there? Is it going to be incorporated into our brand? Is it incorporated in our content? How is it going to impact our organization? How is it going to impact our customers out there? There's lots of different ways you can look at these situations out there, because, whether it's one kind of AI system or another, you need to kind of incorporate those factors into these kinds of things out there. This is just a small list of all the different kind of potential impacts of AI failures out there. So, I would start by assuming it's going to fail. Don't assume there's going to be success, because if you look at this list and you better compare it against what you're trying to do, then you better figure out what the consequences of your failure is going to be. Because if it's too consequential, it could actually really have a disastrous impact on your business. There's other impacts that are coming out there. These are kind of fun in the sense that, can the AI system really detect what you're trying to solve out there, especially if it's a vision system or a hearing system or some sort of machine intelligence out there? Also assume that there's going to be people out there attacking these kinds of systems, because just as people get attacked every day, systems get attacked every day. And so, ideally, you're going to protect against those to begin with, but I don't think that most people think about that. They're going to think, well, this system's going to solve all our problems out there. Because I do think that terrorism and trust are 2 issues that, those are not machine intelligence terms out there. People attacking you and building trust with your customers out there is something that is really hard to anticipate what the impact's going to be. But if you start looking at the way you can use these kinds of systems out there, you can kind of start to predict and then build these systems to help impact the business. The new AI CEO, not a coder, but as a model for expertise and ultimately the subject matter expert for your organization. Build an AI based on key CEO thinking. This is kind of interesting side, is that don't base this on processes or activities, base it on some sort of thinking model out there. What is the goal of the CEO? What is he trying to do or she trying to do? And how is that going to impact your business? And how can you incorporate that to push that out to everyone else in the organization so that they're involved and committed to the process out there? because you just don't know where things are going out there. And I do think that there's a CEO. Hopefully, the CEO is the ultimate customer executive officer too, and that person really is in touch with the customer again, or directing your strategy to the customer, so the customer knows what's going on. Because if you don't fix those, you're going to have problems, and they're not going to provide any real solutions out there. Also, make sure that you got the roadmap going. Does this fit into our product roadmap? Whatever roadmap we're trying to build out there, do we need to have a separate company for this? This is a new company. I do think that in many cases, you need to step away from your business and build new models, and maybe work in parallel. That's this new group out there, NewCo, is going to build a new model out there, and faced with again solutions that are being built internally. I do think that these kinds of things, have an impact on building other types of machines out there, and I like to call it some sort of ultra AI system, set some sort of goals out there. Realize that the thing must evolve, because 2025, hard to believe 2020 is here. 2025 is going to be faster than we're going to realize, and it is also going to have disastrous impacts. I do think that you have to expect the worst. What are the consequences of what we do on our business and our customers? Because again, autonomous vehicles are great, but if they go out and kill customers or pedestrians, it's not be a good thing. Robots are great, but I have full belief that there's going to be weaponized robots coming down the street, maybe attacking your neighbors, maybe attacking you. On a positive note, quantum computing will be accessible by all. I think is going to be a major fact in total shift in how we think about computing, because we just don't think that way right now. We think very serially rather than simultaneous. They can capture all this data and provide an analysis now. What I track that back to is organizational intelligence, in the sense is that organizational velocity still moves at a very slow pace. What I still find out there is the hiring process is still very slow. You're going to go through months of interviews with so-called trying to find the right person, and you don't do that. The whole HR resume analysis process is all wrong, because you're looking at the resume, not the person. It'd be better just to bring in 20 people and interview them live rather than look at their resumes. Stop this hideous process of HR. Privacy also is paramount, but never possible. It's just people are going to be monitoring every piece of data you have. Everything you say will be tracked, and everything, as Dave Chappelle says, everything you say will be used against you more than you can ever imagine. Also, there's going to be what I call technology implosions out there. There's going to be certain types of disasters that we need to solve out there that we don't really know about today. And whether it be the antibiotic flu viruses or antibiotic attacks out there, a lot of people are going to die before we cure cancer and a lot of these other things. And at the same time is that there's going to be new types of viruses that attack us in different ways. What we do find is that ultra AI market product validations and due diligence concepts work. We've built these kind of systems for different kinds of people. It's not to say that they're not easy to do. You need to kind of think through what you're trying to do out there. But certainly when you think about forecasting and future looking and trends and things like that, you can use this kind of technology. And I think it's really kind of fun to do these things. Okay, here's the steps. You're welcome to do them on yourself. There's no one kind of validation or due diligence. Each one is unique. Build an AI market product validation now. It's an art, not a science. As design, development, and delivery takes time, and it's a repeat cycle. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Develop AI analytics, including internal and external factors. AI is not just a thing, but a system of thinking. And I like to focus on that operator of thinking. We'd like to think of AI as a thinking system. It's not. It's a machine system that maybe mimics our thinking, but most often it just is more machine brute force processing of data out there. Evaluate validation like legal discovery, as you may have a premise, but the outcomes may lead in new directions. That's what we find in many projects. Oh, we're going to solve this problem. Oh, no, it doesn't solve that problem, but it will solve this problem over here. That's a problem we'd like to solve because we didn't have a solution for that either. So be flexible in your strategy and be open to how this kind of thing is going to be built out there, because again, we're taking human concepts and put them into metal machines. And so you just kind of have to keep iterating and iterating until the process. Here are some of my references. from people out there on these processes. You know, we've worked with different kinds of people out there. We've built different kind of concepts out there. I think you could use it for different approaches out there. We do these other webinars which kind of tie this whole process together. Crisis communications. I mean, should I say Boeing one more time? You know, Boeing's never going to live down their crisis. You know, you're going to have one too. Also, look at it the other way. Make sure that you're really closely in touch with customers. Build strategic customer assessments. Use technology to gather information about other things that may impact your business, such as a crisis or customer trends out there. And then go out and talk to customers out there. As a result of both those, we've now built a new enterprise sales acceleration professional business-to-business development program. This has been decades of work and research and delivery, and we do know that it works, and it's really kind of fun to do. And it also leads to a better career path for salespeople, because what we're seeing in hiring turnover in most organizations is staggeringly bad. You cannot run your business when you've got to turn over 100% every 6 months in your sales force. You just can't sustain that. And at the same time, the market is changing out there. Here's our one on building a competitive intelligence agency. Certainly lots of fun to do that. I think that's really kind of fun to talk about sabotage and espionage, etc. This is this course here. And, you know, I want to thank you for spending your 20 minutes with me today and wish you all the best and have a good weekend. Cheers.